So you mean to tell me that there is a solo animated Constantine movie, and it's probably the best one we looked at so far in Volume 2, and it's so great to the point of actually giving competition to Dark Knight Returns. How is that possible? Well, I guess I've already said before in other reviews, this month is full of surprises. And this is one of the biggest surprises of this entire marathon because holy freaking crap, guys. This movie's even better than Gotham by Gaslight. Yeah, think about that. What's up? What's happening? It's going by? Welcome back to Animation, animation, including TVs and movies as well. I'm your host, Jadson Small. Welcome to the underrated, unfortunately very not talked about often masterpiece that is Constantine's City of Demons. Apparently, this is an adaptation of a miniseries that was originally on DC's website, and it's Constantine's first solo movie after Justice League Dark. I have a lot to say in this review, needless to try to get to the point here. This is a phenomenal film, like in every single way, shape, and form. It's a great movie for adults. Kids, don't watch this is not for you. And if you're a horror fan especially, you have no idea what you're in store for. This movie may only be 90 minutes, but it's 90 minutes that are very well spent. So, without further ado or delay, I have a very lengthy written review for this one, so I'm going to let that do the rest of the talking, instead of me trying to spitball, because when I try to spitball, that's when I just, forget what to say. So, sit back, relax, and enjoy my written review of Constantine's City of Demons. After how much I loved Justice League Dark, I was beyond excited to find out that Constantine got himself his own solo movie, but also a bit confused when I found out that there was also a whole animated series with the same title that follows the same storyline, according to IMDb. I haven't watched that series yet, but I'm happy to find out that I wasn't missing anything, since this is pretty much a feature-length adaptation of that series, so I didn't have to worry about not seeing the series first beforehand watching this movie. Regardless, this lived up to the hype I had and then some coming off of the already great Justice League Dark. A truly masterful film for adults is the best way to describe this movie. A decade following a tragic mistake, Chaz Chandler calls on his old friend John Constantine to come to Los Angeles and help him cure his daughter Trish from a coma induced by dark demon magic. Voice cast first as always, but interestingly enough, this movie has probably the smallest cast of any DC animated film, with only 9 people. Yes, there are only 9 people in this entire movie voicing all the characters. Considering how it's usually at least 15 to 20 with most of these DC animated movies, that's crazy to think about. Not even 10 people are in the cast of this movie. That just blew my mind. Returning from previous films are Kevin Michael Richardson as Mahonen, Robert Atkins Downs now as the Butler, and of course Matt Ryan, again, not the NFL quarterback, the actor. Yes, there's a difference. Shut up. Do not make NFL jokes in my comment section. Reprising his role as Constantine himself, once again, for his second animated appearance since Justice League Dark. Then everyone else here is new. Rick D. Wasserman, Clayface from the Arkhamverse, and Thor from the Disney XD Marvelverse as... I will do my best to pronounce this name, but I am no Constantine. Mictlan Chichalutli. I'm just going to call him Mict. As Mict. Damien O'Hare, Lieutenant Gillett from Pirates of the Caribbean as Chaz Chandler. Emily O'Brien, Gamora from Telltale's Guardians of the Galaxy as Renee Chandler. Jim Meskimen, Officer Julian from the Jim Carrey Grinch movie as Barul. Rachel Kimsey, Wonder Woman from Justice League Action as Angela. Laura Bailey, another voice actress for Wonder Woman, this time the one that voiced her in Justice League X Ruby, which I've already given both reviews to. Go check those reviews out if you want more information, as Asta the Healer / the Nightmare Nurse. The cast may be small, but it's genuinely fantastic, especially Ryan, who continues to prove himself as the definitive choice for Constantine both in live action and animation. Like I said, This guy's coming in from his role of Constantine in the live-action CW Arrowverse. So, he's already very familiar with the character. He knows the voice. He knows how to bring this character's personality to life without going either too much of an a-hole or too much of a... You know what I mean. It's a little hard to explain. But point is, he is doing a great job as Constantine. He is definitely proving himself to be the definitive Constantine. James Gunn, please bring this guy back to play Constantine in your live-action universe like you're doing with Nathan Fillion for Green Lantern. Please. And just like with Justice League Dark, Constantine himself is once again the best part of the movie and more than earns the starring role. Not only is he the same bizarrely charming a-hole from Dark, but he also gets some great character development, as this one dives more into his backstory and how he became the man that he is. Not to mention he's still funny as hell, spouting off quips no matter how dire the situation, which is great dark humor that gives just enough levity to not overwhelm the audience with the overwhelming, horrific tone of the movie. Also, like Dark, this one was given a hard R rating, but believe it or not, it's actually much harder of an R this time, more akin to something like Scorpion's Revenge, for example. There's no nudity, but there is a lot of smoking, aka drug use, the generalization of it. Romero-level amounts of blood, that's far more than any previous DC animated film, yes, even more than Dark Knight Returns, believe it or not. There's another screwing scene, I can't say the actual works, I'm gonna get demonetized, that while it doesn't show anything is still pretty explicit, and some of the most insane gore in any animated film or show that I have ever seen. Like, if you thought the rest of this New 52 movie series was bloody, you ain't seen nothing until you've seen this movie, City of Demons. It is one of the most gory, bloody, intense, violent as hell animated projects that I have ever seen. I'm not even giving you a hyperbole. You still don't believe me? Here's a few examples. Examples include spines getting ripped out, heads being stomped on and or eaten, very graphic evisceration that makes even the Helliverse shows and even Deceased look tame in comparison. Like, there is some brutal evisceration of intestines in this movie. That makes Hell of a Boss and Hazbin Hotel look like child's play. Yes, this movie really is that violent. People being burned alive. And huge explosions of guts and body parts that cover the entire rooms in copious amounts of blood and detached flesh. Like, you know that scene of the ultimate villain death from Blade? Imagine that, but you actually see, like, pieces of flesh mixed in with all the copious amounts of blood. Like, this movie is bloody, it is gory, it is violent, and if you are sensitive to stuff like that, you will puke. That's your warning. If you're sensitive to blood, gore, and very, very hard R violence, do not watch this movie. It will make you puke. It's not Terrifier bad, but it is still very, very gory. And that is just a few of the many violent occurrences that you'll find throughout this movie. In other words, don't watch if gore disgusts you. And then there's the story, which is both unapologetically adult and masterfully crafted, diving into both the literal depths of hell and the long-standing friendship between Chaz and Constantine, which makes the ending all the more devastating. Also, unlike poor old Soups, I actually cared about Constantine because DC gave actual time for him to develop beforehand, and he wasn't stuck as a side character. Like, even in Justice League Dark, when I reviewed that movie, he was not a side character. You could have argued in that movie that Constantine was the main character. Obviously, aside from Batman. As for the characters in this one, I really liked them. I already talked about Constantine, but Chaz Chandler was especially a big surprise. His friendship with John felt genuine, and it was admirable seeing how far he was willing to go to save his daughter. While I was a bit bummed out that Zatanna didn't return for this one, I was more than happy with Asta instead, because she was genuinely a really fascinating character that I wanted to learn more about. Unfortunately, we don't really get that in this movie, but I have a feeling she's going to come back. I hope she comes back. I want to learn more about her. Also, while I can't really talk about him because it is a pretty big spoiler, the villain of this movie is incredible, and watching his metaphorical chess match with Constantine was engaging all the way throughout. However, as stated before, all this can easily fall apart if the writing doesn't live up to that same standard. But thankfully, it's just another piece of this masterfully crafted, blood-soaked, intestine-stained puzzle. The writing throughout the movie is fantastic, with instantly iconic dialogue and very strong storytelling that doesn't feel phoned in or lazy in the slightest. And then there's all the rest of the positives of the movie. Phenomenal animation, consistent dark tone, perfect runtime of 90 minutes that gives the story plenty of time to unfold, outstanding slow burn pacing that takes its time and doesn't rush anything, but doesn't bore the audience, very high rewatchability, and a very shocking twist ending that cannot be predicted. Like, if you think that you can predict the ending of this movie, be my guest, because I can tell you right now, more than likely, you ain't gonna figure it out. Overall, while Dark Knight Returns is still my personal favorite DC animated film so far, Constantine City of Demons is a very close second. Dark, gritty, horrific, adult, funny, action-packed, compelling, unpredictable, masterfully written, phenomenally voiced, and soaked in gore, Constantine stands high as the best movie of the New 52 canon that I'll happily be adding to my Halloween watch list. Like, this movie was made for Halloween. It's got horror, it's got darkness, it's got bloody, gory violence. It's perfect for Halloween. So, that's gonna bring me now to my final verdict for Constantine City of Demons. It is the highest one that I can possibly give. Because I honestly don't have any negatives with this movie. I was engaged all throughout. I was surprised by how good the movie itself was. I was so happy that they did Constantine such good justice in his own movie. And I just had a phenomenal time watching this movie, both as a huge fan of this character and as a huge horror movie gorehound. So, that may or may not bump with my ratings a little bit, but in my opinion, I think that Constantine City of Demons deserves no lower than a final verdict of an 11 out of 10. Yes, an 11, it breaks the scale. Maybe it's a little bit of bias, but I do not freaking care. If you can stomach extreme, bloody, gory violence, you're in for an amazing film that does this criminally underrated character justice. Yeah, if you're over 18 and you can stomach that, I highly recommend this movie. It is a great animated film for adults, it's a great animated film for DC fans, and it's a great animated film for this character. Seriously, put some damn respect on Constantine's name. Well, that's it. Now I'm probably about to dive headfirst off a cliff because we gotta talk about the second part of that other movie I talked about last time that was more frustrating rather than entertaining. Oh well, can't win them all. I'll see you guys next time for Reign of the Supermen.
We cannot take it anymore. The time has come to go. Prepare, fight, we're ready for.